There's a special kind of silence that happens when a Democrat gets caught lying on national TV. And today, that silence belonged to Hakeem Jeffries. Because, folks, let me tell you, what you're about to see, or rather hear about, might go down as the single most humiliating on-air moment of his career. NBC's own Kristen Welker, yes, NBC finally had enough of the spin. She cornered Jeffries live on air, played the tape, and his whole Republican shutdown narrative exploded in real time. It was crazy. So right now, right when Democrats thought that they could recover, boom, President Donald J. Trump, he dropped the hammer on them. A Truth Social post that was so savage, it was so viral that even CNN had to cover this thing. They called it trolling. I call it strategic psychological warfare because let's be honest, guys, Trump, he didn't just troll them, he owned them. In fact, he used humor to turn their entire media meltdown into a national punchline, and everybody was laughing at him. So while Jeffries stumbled and mumbled through excuses, when he posted that now infamous Grim Reaper meme, kind of signaling the death of the Democratic narrative and the rebirth of the truth, oh yeah, everyone absolutely lost it. It was crazy. So as of today, the numbers just don't lie. President Trump's approval rating is surging. I mean, the shutdown blame game has completely flipped, and Democrats, they're eating each other alive. Schumer is panicking, super PACs are mobilizing, donors are fuming. Guys, buckle up because in this breakdown here, I'm gonna go ahead and dive into the exact moment NBC turned on the Democrats, how Trump's viral meme just rewrote the political playbook, and more importantly, why the so-called shutdown might be the very best thing that has ever happened to his presidency. Hit the like button, subscribe, folks, because this time the trolling just became truth. I mean, you could kind of see it the moment she snapped. NBC's Kristen Welker, usually calm, super scripted, loyal to the Democratic line, suddenly turns on Hakeem Jeffries mid-interview. Now, I don't know if she might get fired for this or promoted. Kind of hard to tell right now. He starts blaming Republicans for the shutdown, and she cuts him off. She says, then why are Senate Democrats refusing to vote on the clean resolution? That's when the tone changed. Even NBC had enough of the excuses. The look on Jeffries' face said it all. Shocked, caught, and completely unprepared for pushback. This wasn't Fox News doing the grilling. It was one of their own. And so then came the knockout punch. Welker plays an old clip. Jeffries, this is Hakeem Jeffries himself, back in 2013 saying, you do not use the threat of shutting down government to advance your agenda. He froze. He looked around the room. He just froze, mumbled out bipartisan negotiations. But everyone watching already knew. He had just contradicted himself live on TV. No spin, no saving face. Not even NBC could hide it. In fact, they put it on full display. And in that very instant, Jeffries went from Democrat leader to Democrat liability. This was a bold lie exposed by his own words. He outed himself. And a narrative collapsing in real time. Now, the moment that clip aired, social media exploded. The split screen said everything. On the left, Kristen Welker, cool, composed, armed with facts. But on the right, Hakeem Jeffries, blinking rather quickly, sweating, searching for the words that just wouldn't come. Viewers didn't need any commentary. The silence was the whole story right there. That's what made it so viral. The raw, unfiltered panic of a politician caught in the act. Within hours, the clip hit millions of views, not from conservatives, but independents, moderates, and even Democrats who said, okay, that was pretty bad. NBC accidentally created a moment of truth television. I couldn't believe it. And so just like that, the entire Republican shutdown narrative crumbled. NBC showed the receipts. The House had already passed a clean, bipartisan 24-page funding bill to keep the government open. No riders, no tricks, just a simple continuing resolution, a CR. But Schumer refused to bring it to the floor. Jeffries kept calling it Republican obstruction. Now, that excuse is gone. I mean, for the first time in years, the media narrative completely flipped. Republicans look like the adults in the room, and the Democrats, well, they just kind of look like they're playing politics with paychecks. Now, the worst time to test your Medicare plan is in the middle of an emergency. Can I get an amen from anyone who's been burned lately? This is when people realize that their coverage just isn't what they thought it was. And that's a problem. That is a big problem, and it's almost too late at that point. So this is why I partnered with Chapter. Their advisors stress test your Medicare plan before life does. They check the fine print. They read that little itty bitty print that's like font size 2 that they really don't want you to read. They read that for you and they prepare you for the unexpected. Now, one of our viewers, she said, Chapter saved me before I even knew I had a problem with my Medicare plan. So let me ask you, Are you going to wait for that emergency? Are you really going to sit there and read through all that tiny font? Or are you going to do what most people already are doing and just call chapter before it's too late? Now, most people, they're dialing that phone number right there at the bottom of your screen, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. That telephone number again is 909-563-8279. So while Jeffries was still stumbling through excuses, President Donald J. Trump dropped the post that detonated across the internet like a political nuke. No speech, no press conference, just one Truth Social truth bomb upload. The Grim Reaper meme. The caption, "Here comes the Reaper." It was pure Trump, guys. Funny, fearless, and strategic. Like, comment down below if you guys know Trump. Is Trump like a funny guy? Like, does he have a sense of humor? Drop a 1 in the comments down below if you think Trump has a sense of humor, because within minutes, hashtag "Here comes the Reaper" was trending on X, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. And for once, the entire country wasn't just talking about the shutdown. They were laughing at Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer at the same time. Trump turned chaos into comedy and humiliation into headline control. So here's what the media still doesn't understand. Trump doesn't just troll, he disarms. He turns anger into entertainment, he turns fear into laughter. Like, that's what I'm about, right? Let's laugh rather than cry, right? I'd rather laugh than cry. So this is why his post spread faster than any press release ever could. Democrats panic because they fight with outrage, but Trump fights with humor, and humor wins every single time. So when the Reaper meme hit, it wasn't just a joke, it was a strategy. It told Americans, look, I'm not afraid of their noise, I'm just enjoying the show. So that confidence right there, that swagger, this is exactly why Trump's base grows stronger and stronger every time the left melts down. So to most people, it was just a meme. But to those paying attention, it was symbolic warfare. The Reaper wasn't about death. It was about accountability. It was Trump's way of saying, hey, the reckoning has arrived. The Democrats' lies, their shutdown games, their blame shifting, all of it had caught up with them. This is why it hit so hard, because deep down, Americans are tired of politicians who never face consequences. And Trump knew exactly how to communicate that. Not through a speech, but through a meme that said what everyone else was thinking. Time's up. So why did Schumer just pass the bill? Because he couldn't. I mean, like, the reason why Schumer didn't just pass the bill is because he couldn't do it. Every insider in DC knows the truth. The far left they got him on a leash, and he doesn't want to admit it, but it's true. He's terrified. He's scared of AOC. He's afraid of Ilhan Omar. Is it Ilhan Omar or is it Ilhan Omar? How do you pronounce her name? I always say Elon. Anyway, he's terrified of the entire activist wing of his own party. It's really crazy. So in New York, the progressive machine is circling, threatening primary challenges to anybody who dares compromise with Trump. So Schumer holds the government hostage just to keep his job. It's sad. I mean, he's not fighting for workers. He's fighting for himself. He's fighting to keep that paycheck coming in. And so every day this shutdown drags on, the reality becomes harder and harder for Democrats to hide. They're not the party of unity anymore. In fact, they're the party of fear. And so now, what makes this all worse? Well, the footage from 2013. Back when Obama was president, anybody remember Barack Obama being president back then? Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, also known as Walmart Obama, and Chuck Jeffries, I just like hybrided Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. So Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they swore that the government shutdowns were irresponsible and un-American. Chuck Jeffries, that would be like if Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer had a baby. Ew. Anyway, that was crazy. They called it holding the enemy hostage. Now, if we go ahead and fast forward to today, 2025, they're doing the exact same thing, but this time they're doing it to hurt Trump. It is literally hypocrisy in 4K. They once said, you never use a shutdown for politics. That's just wrong. Now they've weaponized it to protect their agenda. The difference? Well, this time it's on tape. And the media, even NBC, played it live. For the first time in years, their own words are turning against them. So while Democrats play games, 700,000 federal employees are sitting at home wondering when the next paycheck comes. Families with mortgages, TSA officers, Border Patrol agents, active duty service members, and for what? Because Schumer won't sign a clean 7-week extension that Republicans already passed. House Republicans did their job. The bill is on the table, and the only thing stopping it is politics. Even moderate Democrats are starting to admit it privately. The longer this goes on, the more it looks like Trump's right. They're not protecting America. They're protecting their own narrative. And while Democrats scramble on, to clean up the mess, Republicans, they're going for the jugular. Two of the biggest GOP super PACs, American Action Network and One Nation. I can't even make this stuff up. They just teamed up for a multi-million-dollar ad blitz. Ooh. Every spot ends with the same message. Schumer shut it down. Jeffries lied. They're all saying the same thing. The ads, they're not subtle. They show families missing paychecks, airports backed up, and clips of Jeffries fumbling his NBC interview. It's devastating because this time the GOP didn't just wait for the media to spin it. They seized the narrative first. They're running ads in every swing district, reminding voters exactly who caused the chaos. So that's the part that no one saw coming. For the first time since Trump returned back to office, the entire Republican machine is perfectly aligned. The White House, Congress, the PACs, all saying one thing. We passed the bill. Democrats blocked it. That kind of discipline terrifies the left because when Trump's humor and the GOP's message hit at the same time, it's unstoppable. Even CNN had to admit the optics are their communications masterclass. I mean, Trump, he isn't just leading this party. He is synchronizing it. He's like the maestro orchestrating. And so that unity right there, this is what's really turning a so-called crisis into a political windfall. And so now here's the latest Democrat excuse. They're now claiming that they're blocking the funding bill to protect Obamacare subsidies. Nice try. Those subsidies, they don't even expire until the end of the year. NBC already fact-checked it, and even their analysts couldn't make any sense of it. So what are Democrats really doing right now? Like, they're pretending that this is about healthcare when it's really about control. Because if they admit Republicans passed a clean, temporary funding bill, their whole Republican shutdown story falls apart. And so this isn't about helping families afford insurance. It's about keeping a talking point alive, plain and simple. So the American people, they're seeing straight through it. And you see, guys, let's be honest. This shutdown isn't about healthcare. It's about immigration money. Bottom line. Buried in this budget is funding that blocks cash from flowing to sanctuary programs and illegal migrant housing. Trump's team drew the line. Democrats panicked. They'd rather freeze federal paychecks than lose billions in asylum expansion grants that reward blue state cities for ignoring the law. That's the real fight. This isn't fiscal policy. This is border policy in disguise. Schumer and Jeffries are stalling because Trump cut off the cash cow that fuels their left's open border machine. That's what all this is about. This is why they're willing to let government workers suffer, to make TSA agents have to go to work in the airports. They're already mad, and now they're showing up for work and not even getting a paycheck. You know how angry they're going to be now? And they're doing all this to protect the system that keeps their base loyal. And right on cue, the meltdown began. CNN, MSNBC, and the New York Times all rolled out the same new headline overnight. Shutdown, standoff escalates. Notice the wording. It's not Republican showdown. It's not Republican shutdown anymore. This is how you already know that the narrative is collapsing. Because when the same anchors who used to blame Trump last week suddenly start saying both sides, it's because they're in damage control. Producers are panicking. Editors are rewriting the scripts. Even left-leaning pundits are warning that the shutdown coverage has backfired politically. The public's tuning out the noise. And for the first time in years, mainstream media no longer controls the storyline. Trump does. And the data proves it. Overnight polls show President Trump's approval ratings jumped nearly 7 points on handling of government spending. 7 points in 24 hours, guys. Guys, his Truth Social post didn't just go viral. It shifted public opinion. People aren't laughing at him. They're laughing with him. Even independents say that he's handling the chaos better than expected. That's the power of humor and confidence. So while Democrats argue over messaging, Trump just owns the moment. He's not ranting. He's winning hearts by trolling opponents who make themselves a little bit too serious, who take themselves a little bit too seriously. So when Trump's out here laughing, Ucker's listening. So, and drop a laughing in the comments down below if you're laughing with Trump. By Monday morning, guys, the cracks starting to show. Water's starting to come through. Sources inside the Capitol say Chuck Schumer held a closed-door secret meeting with some senior Democrats, and it wasn't pretty. Leaked notes show Schumer admitting the shutdown had backfired politically and that Jeffries' NBC interview made things 10 times worse. He's reportedly furious, not at Republicans, but at his own caucus. Talk about the caucus. Staffers described the meeting as tense and chaotic. I mean, talk about some clenching of the butt cheeks, right? With one senator warning that Trump's team had seized the narrative completely. So Chuck Schumer even used the word embarrassing. He's embarrassed. Chuck Schumer out here embarrassed. You see how red them cheeks were? They were pretty red. So this is how you already know that they're in trouble. When the word embarrassing comes out of the Senate Majority Leader's mouth, well, the fat lady's about to sing. So Hakeem Jeffries, we need to talk about him. You know, he don't want us to talk about him, but we're going to have to talk about him. He's feeling it. Behind the scenes, donors are livid. Party operatives are calling the NBC appearance a disaster. Disaster. Even blaming him for giving Trump the perfect meme moment. So moderate Democrats, they're out here whispering, talking about replacing him as House Minority Leader before 2026. So that means he could get fired. Comment down below if you want to see Hakeem Jeffries get fired before 2026. One insider told Axios he turned a communications error into a movement. So even the squad's going quiet, like they're not defending him publicly anymore. That's how you already know that the party smells blood and water. Jeffries wanted to be the next Obama. And instead, he's like the Temu Obama. He's the Walmart Obama. He's the great value knockoff Obama. He wanted to be Obama so bad, but you know, it is what it is. He's just going to have to stay Hakeem Jeffries. And so now he's just another example of what happens when you underestimate Trump in 2025. Here's the part that nobody saw coming, though. Trump didn't just rush to capitalize. No, he waited. Trump camped out. So while Democrats fumbled press conferences and scrambled to reframe talking points, he stayed silent, calm, collected, presidential. Then he dropped one simple message. We passed the bill. Schumer blocked it. Americans deserve better. That's it. No yelling, no drama, just facts and focus. That's the new Trump strategy in 2025, folks. Let them implode while he leads. The result? Democrats looked unhinged. Trump looks stable, and that's driving independent voters right back into his column. By staying silent, by staying patient, he just went ahead and flipped the optics from chaos to control, and the nation noticed. So what started as a joke, a meme of the Grim Reaper, something much bigger came. It's not just a viral post anymore. It's rather symbolic, if you ask me. Americans they're using it to represent accountability. The idea that politicians who lie, manipulate, or even play games with people's livelihoods, they're going to face the reckoning. Like, are you okay with politicians playing with your paycheck? I'm not. So here comes the Reaper turned into a rally cry. T-shirts, hashtags, chants at rallies is everywhere because Trump didn't just troll them, he exposed them. It's kind of like pantsing their political rivals on the big stage. And in the process, he proves something that the left still cannot understand. Laughter can destroy lies faster than outrage ever could. So as Democrats scramble for recovery, Trump stands grinning, calm, confident, and once again, completely in control because this time, the troll wasn't just funny, it was fatal. Like, subscribe, share. See you guys next time. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.